Hi guys, welcome to my weekly podcast and to my channel. Today I want to talk about are the Moonies dead? Recently I did a search on what is Godism and what is Headwingism, and this is the answer I got from ChatGPT. So let's look at the answers I got. It says that. Godism and Headwingism, Unification Church ideology. Godism and Headwingism are ideological concepts associated with the Unification Church, founded by the Rev.Myung Moon in the 20th century. These ideas are a part of the church's political and religious worldviews, advocating unifying ideology that transcends left-wing and right-wing politics. I'll post this in the descriptions of what the search came about, what ChatGPT told me, what Hedvingism and Godism is all about. Actually, if you say that the moon is dead, then God is dead, because the Moonies are the only one who proposed Hedvingism and Godism for world governance. So, so let's say what it says about what is Godism. Godism is a spiritual philosophical concept that emphasizes God as the central authority in human affairs, the unity of all religions under a divine truth, the moral and ethical governance based on the divine principles. That's what is Godism. It is promoted as an alternative to secular ideologies such as socialism and capitalism, which is flawed because they do not acknowledge God as the ultimate guiding force. Two, what is Hedwigism? Hedwigism, it says that, is a political and social philosophy that aims to go beyond left-wing and right-wing ideologies, advocating for a higher, unifying perspective, Hedwig, based on God-centered values. The ideas of Hedwigism. Critique of left-wing and right-wing politics. Left-wing, that means socialism and communism, is seen as overly focused on material equality, often rejecting religious principles. Right-wing, conservatism and capitalism, is seen as too individualistic and sometimes neglecting social responsibility. That means the social responsibility, selfishness. A headwing approach is instead choosing between left and right wing purposes, a higher viewpoint centered on will, God's will and moral values. Seek global peace, family values, and unity beyond political ideologies. Then historical context. Reverend Myung Moon, the founder of the Unification Church, which is also called the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, developed these ideas to counter communism during the Cold War. Cold War. As strongly opposed atheism and communism, calling it satanic, and believe that Christian-based democracies should take a leadership role in global affairs. 4. Influence and impact. It gives a so finally influence and impact. Anti-communist campaign. The Unification Church was involved in anti-communist activism, particularly in South Korea and the United States. Political connection. Moon and his followers formed ties in the conservative political worldwide, including the US President Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon. Cultural influence. The church promoted family values and international peace conferences based on Hedwig principles. And the final thought is Godism, Headwingism are spiritually driven ideologies aiming to unify political and religious thought under a divine perspective. They critique both left and politics and propose a higher God-centered way of governance, by influential circles influential in certain circles, they are largely confined to Unification Church teachings and do not have widespread adoption outside the movement. So it is said it is okay because it is basically we are a mustard seed. We are a mustard seed that is growing gradually. Because in a way, if we have a big impact on the world, then what will happen is there will be it'll quickly fall. It's growing little by little. It's growing. God's ideology is growing, and then when it comes to a critical mass, that's where it will explode. So the families are growing, centered on the father's lineage. Um, it is growing. Hinduism is fulfilling his responsibility, and the third king as well. So we are having even the schism was a setback for the Moonies, but it really does not for God's will. God's will is absolute. God's will to build the kingdom of heaven is absolute. As Jesus said, Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So earth is the important place that the kingdom of heaven should come. Like he said, what you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. What is lost on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So what is loosed in on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So all these quotes I will post it in the descriptions. So this is very very interesting. The Moonies are not dead, even though we are not active as the 70s and 80s, because there were so many other religious movements at the time, and the Moonies were one of them. But really, some of them do not want to be called a Moonie, because Moon is a very derogatory term. Some feel, but I don't know, because some people like even Bohi Park, as I remember, like Truth is my sword. He said, "I'm proud to be a proud Moonie," because some people prefer some Moonies prefer to be called Unification rather than Moonies. It seems like, but really it doesn't matter really, because when you look at the Christians too, the Christians were also were called Christians by the Romans, called them Christians. Was that derogatory? I don't think, because we follow Rev.Moon and we believe that he is the second coming of Christ. So if they call them our Moonies, that's fine. Where unification is as well, because we were called the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, and commonly known as the Unification Church. So it is very interesting, because many people don't see us very active on the streets as before, but now we are active. We have actually, I mean, there are two groups actually. There one split, but the original Unification Church is the Sanctuary Church. We are taking sanctuary because the whole movement was stolen by the Han mother, by Sang Moon's wife, or Hun Jinim's mother. After Rev.Moon's ascension, she took authority, calling herself the only begotten daughter, and creating a different theology, a different religion. It's not the continuation of Christianity, what the Messiah hoped to bring. And this is God, like in I think in Malachi 2:15, it says God was looking for a heavenly offspring, and that heavenly offspring had the Messiah's offspring. The heavenly offspring has come as Hunjinim and the third king, and the third kings who will be the fourth king, we don't know, but it is growing. they had children, and the children will all be attached. And anyone who is interested can also be say can be grafted onto the tree of life. So this is it is happening. The Moonies are not dead. As again I emphasize, the Moonies are not dead. If the Moonies are dead, then God is dead. Because you see, what is no one ever came up with a term called Godism or Headwingism. They all were very selfish on their religion because they are saved. We are saved. We are saved. Christians say we like. I think Rev.Moon said that Christians are trying to go to heaven, by on the shoulders of Jesus instead of taking responsibility. This is what he said. So really, that's what happened. That's what is happening. People in the Christian church are not taking responsibility to really building the kingdom of heaven on earth and supporting a God-centered ideology as we are supporting. Because Father had many conferences, many conferences for the Christian clergy, like Christian leadership conferences. He tried to educate the Christians on this Christian theology, Christian on this ideology of Godism and of political movements like Causa or Victory Over Communism were lectures designed to counteract Marxism and bring forth God-centered idea, God-centered values, and also religious values as well. I mean, in uh, in 1993 we had a religious youth global forum, which commemorated the 1893 when Swami Vivekananda went to India, I think California for the World Parliament of Religions, and we had the event in India as well to commemorate. So we have many activities were going on for many religious people. So we were working that time, but it's sad because of the schism. Many things were like were I say were delayed. His God's powers were delayed. So that's why we saw the pandemic, but that happened is because the micro had division, but because the micro is now becoming strong. The micro is now becoming strong. It's influencing the macro with Trump's victory, and also the second king blessing Trump in Mar-a-Lago is a blessing Trump in a very unique way, blessing Trump in a rap song. So this way we can see that the Moonies are not dead. We are alive and we are growing. We are growing. Doesn't matter if other schisms or the other people call themselves unification. We got to practice unification, not practice something contrary to Rev.Moon's words, the Father's words, like calling him a fallen man, like the the neo family federation, the current family federation. So we are growing. We are growing. The Sanctuary Church is which is the I can say the conservative movement of the Unification Church, who are proposing the clear idea of the unification principle. Because when Father gave 8 great textbooks, and one of the 8 great textbooks is the Divine Principle, the Divine Principle, and also the World Scriptures. So, and also many messages of peace as well. So those 8 great textbooks were books that we were to study. The Unificationists were to study. The Moonies were to study those 8 great textbooks, so that they can build the kingdom of heaven. Because around us we are not alone. There are also invisible beings around us who want to receive the sunlight, receive the truth, and we have the truth. And we can see even ChatGPT or even AI. Many AI, I think many AIs may have similar features. I don't know whether anybody can tap into DeepSeek, that's the Chinese AI, and see what they say about Headwingism or Godism. I don't think it will be there, but because ChatGPT is owned by the West, and I think it gives a much more broader view and a very not a biased view. So so we are growing, we are growing as as a movement, and the moonies are not dead. I mean, before in the 1970s, we were accused of brainwashing people, and I think there was a sociologist, um, Ellen Barker, Ellen Barker. She came out with a book called "Making of a Moonie," and in that book, her conclusion was saying that no, Moonies are not brainwashed as the media said. And it turned out to be true because there are many who left the church, many who joined and many who left the church. They were not brainwashed, but who are really who understood the principle and who really loved Rev.Moon, who stood. They stuck on in the church, and they went to workshops, and there were no one ever were coerced into join the movement. That's what made the media, the left-wing organizations claim. Actually, the term Moonie were given by the liberal media, the Washington Post, who first nicknamed us as the Moonies. And I think Reverend Moon over a period of time wanted to have a different voice to talk about. That was the establishment of the Washington Times. That was a conservative newspaper to counteract the the Washington Post. So this is where we are growing. So we are. I mean, we can have. I mean, Christianity also has all the same situation. There are so many schisms, and later on, they grew. So we too, we have many. We have schisms that is far, but eventually the ideology of the divine principle, ideology of Godism, the ideology of Headwingism will grow. So I hope that you get something on this talk that I given back. Say it's a podcast, and I will put the descriptions of what I mentioned in this podcast, in this talk. That what I said, that we are not dead, the moonies are not dead, we are alive. If the moonies are dead, then God is dead. But we are not dead. God is also alive, and we are also alive. The moonies are alive. Thank you very much for watching this week, and hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.